folks, how's it going? Super excited to be chatting with each of you. Excited for week 4. Program folks, you've already had updates from me, but just wanted to take 2 minutes to get everyone super clear on what's happening this week with student surveys, because it'll definitely be an all hands on deck execution. I want to make sure that anyone that gets answered a question about student surveys feels equipped to be able to answer it. So in a nutshell, this week, core members will have a session with their ILs at most sites around the what, why, how of student surveys. And in that session, they're going to learn and talk a little bit about why student surveys matter, but a big piece of that is just making sure that they're clear on the execution and administration of the student surveys. So that y'all are clear, we are trying to get all of the copies nice and finished for everyone for each of the student surveys. So teachers will not have to make their own copies of the survey. We will be making copies of each of the surveys that we give out to folks during that session. The student surveys will likely come in a little folder with each of the copies and some directions on the inside. This Friday, June 30th, all core members should plan to administer the survey. Each individual core member should give the survey on their own. So for example, if I am in a co-lab where I teach math and Caitlin teaches humanities, each of us would give the student survey, and so most students will take the same survey several times, but for different teachers. If I'm co-teaching with Caitlin, her and I could decide if we want to have them complete one set of the survey or 2 sets of the survey. As opposed to telling teachers that they have to each give one, we're going to let co-teachers decide what they think makes the most sense based on how they've been splitting up their time already. By the end of the day on Friday, June 30th, mentor teachers should have collected the folders from each of their teachers. The reason is not so we are going to like secretly look at things or grade teachers, but simply so that they don't get lost over the holiday weekend. We just want to keep them on the school site. So if a teacher is super adamant about taking them home and looking at them over the holidays, then you can definitely let them do that, but we just want to make sure that they absolutely are all back so that in week 5, when we have a session on reviewing what was in those student surveys, people aren't like, oh crap, I left those at home or at the beach or somewhere else. As context about where the student surveys are coming from, we have all of the questions were pulled from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who did a lot of work around student surveys, and in particular, the Measures of Effective Teaching, the MET, which partners with all sorts of folks from around the country. So the Harvard School of Ed, Aspire Public Schools, Denver Public Schools, Memphis City Public Schools, the New Teachers Project. So all sorts of people influence like what are the questions that matter most in student surveys, because they've done a lot of research around like what are the questions that actually get to the heart of things. And so the questions that we're providing for teachers predominantly focus in 2 different areas. And I'm going to share my screen with y'all. So we pulled questions directly from there, but in particular, the buckets that we are focusing on are these first 3 buckets: care, control, and clarify. And so really, those are the ones that are aligned to the learning that core members have done so far. Teachers can absolutely have folks add additional questions by posting it on the board or having students do it on a sticky note or handwriting it in there so that they're getting answers to ones that they want, but just want to make sure that we're all clear on like why these questions were chosen, because they've been tried and true to like get to the heart of what we want to have information around. For teachers who are worried about students who are non-readers or potentially non-English speakers, we can absolutely support by reading the assessments and having them fill it in. We can support by having any staff member pull a student out and administer the survey one-on-one. And in the smaller or in the bigger classes, if we end up needing to pull more students one-on-one and each student doesn't take the survey, that's totally fine, as long as there is like a sizable amount of students who have taken it. It shouldn't be like a super stressful thing where people are panicked because not every single student took it, especially if it's like in a lower elementary classroom where like they realize that they need to administer it one-on-one. So just one final logistical thing. Give me one moment. In this section where it says teacher name, I recommend that the teachers actually go ahead and write their name in ahead of time. So like I would write Miss Cheddar on all of my little forms, just so that I don't have to worry about the students doing that or not doing that. Teachers should absolutely like feel free to dive in and look at them right away. They're going to need them likely during their weekly reflection on Friday as they set their goals for the next week. But really just want to make sure that folks are administering them and that we're all clear. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask your IL, and yeah, all hands on deck. Let's get some data from the students. Going to be great. Thanks. Bye.